Yes, just like last year with Infinity War, my review of this movie is a little bit late. I just came back from Boston where I saw this movie with my old college buddies. It was awesome, we had a blast. So now that I'm back home, let's talk about this movie. And just so you know, this is going to be completely spoiler free. So don't worry, no spoilers here. Alright, that being said, let's talk about the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Avengers Endgame. So Avengers Endgame is the 22nd movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the 10th, and as far as I'm concerned, final film in its phase 3. It's the culmination of 22 movies all leading up to this. This is it. The 11-year journey has finally reached its end. So at the end of Avengers Infinity War last year, Thanos snapped his fingers and wiped out half of all life in the universe. So now what's left of the Avengers have to deal with that. And really that's the most I can say without spoiling the movie, because the trailers for this film were so vague, which I love, by the way. The Avengers are like, wow, okay, that really sucked. Is there even a chance that we could possibly do something about it? Maybe bring everyone back? Maybe deal with Thanos? We don't know. I mean, I can't even talk about the characters. I mean, the original 6 Avengers, you know, they all survived the snap, but I can't talk about where they are in this movie, you know, emotionally, mentally, physically. Like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, I can't say anything. I'll say Hawkeye in this movie is interesting. After the events of the decimation, he's headed down a pretty dark path. It's pretty cool to see. And I feel like I can also say that for those of you who are worried about Captain Marvel coming in and just stealing the spotlight, she doesn't do that in this movie. In fact, she's not even in this movie that much. It's still all about the Avengers that we've known for the past decade. So don't worry about Captain Marvel coming in and stealing everyone's thunder, because she doesn't do that. In fact, what she does do in this movie, in my opinion, was pretty fucking cool. Can I talk about where Thanos is in this movie? I mean, no. I will say that, you know how Avengers Infinity War was Thanos' movie? I'll say this is not that for Thanos. This Endgame is not Thanos' movie. Thanos is in the movie, but he doesn't have the spotlight this time around. And I didn't want him to have the spotlight in this one, because, you know, this is the Avengers, the original Avengers anyway, this is their swan song. I wanted the Avengers to have the spotlight in this movie, so I'm glad that that was done right. Okay, you know how when this movie was originally announced as part of the whole Phase 3 announcement, it was announced as Infinity War Part 1 and 2, but then a couple years later they said, oh, it's not going to be Infinity War Part 1 and 2 because Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4 are going to be completely separate movies because they're so different. I do kind of understand where they were coming from because, yeah, this movie's nothing like Infinity War, like, at all. It's very different. But that being said, I still see this working as a Part 1, Part 2 kind of deal, because it is one big saga dealing with the Infinity Stones and Thanos and these events. I mean, it all depends on how you want to see it. I do see it working as Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2. Probably would have been a better title for this movie. Endgame is an okay title. It's good. I do think it could be better though. I still think Infinity's End would have been the perfect title for this movie. I don't know, those are just my thoughts on it anyway. Now, of course, this movie being like the culmination of everything, there are some jaw-dropping moments here. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's not all drama all the time. Holy shit. This movie's a nail-biter, let me tell ya. Because I feel like their chances of possibly bringing everyone back, their quest to do this stands upon the edge of a knife. To quote Lord of the Rings, stray but a little and it will fail to the ruin of all. And you feel that, you are like, oh my god, like the odds are 1,000,000 to 1 here. It's intense, which is good, that's how it's supposed to be. And of course, this movie being the culmination of everything, there are some awesome cheering moments in this movie. When I saw this for the first time, I've seen it twice now at this point, my audience went absolutely apeshit at certain moments. As did I, of course. Because there are moments where you're like, holy fuck! That thing that just happened! Oh my god! That's not a spoiler, you figured there will be moments like that in this movie. But this movie is insane. It's insanity in cinema form, and it is as entertaining as it sounds. And yes, it does clock in at a little over 3 hours long, just like I predicted. But for a hardcore MCU fan like myself, it didn't feel like it was 3 hours long. It felt like it flew by because I was so attached to these characters after 11 years. I was so invested, because no other franchise has ever done anything like this before. There have been epic franchises like Harry Potter that have led up to their epic conclusion and they were great, but never on this scale before. This is the biggest epic conclusion I've ever seen on the big screen. I'm not knocking Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings was 3 epic movies. This was 22 really good movies. I can't say they're all epic. Yes, some movies in the MCU were good, some were awesome, some were okay, but in my opinion anyway, none of them were bad. I have enjoyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe every step of the way, and I feel really lucky to be able to say that I've seen every single one of these 22 films in theaters. And because I was there for all of it, the payoff at the end of this movie, holy shit, it was beyond my wildest dreams. I'm serious. It's heavy with drama, it's heavy with action. It's so emotionally heavy because it's the end of it all. I felt like a different person after watching this movie for the first time. Yeah, I walked into the theater one person, I sat down, and at the end of the movie, I was a completely different human being. It's true. It does feel like the end of a cinematic era, like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Like, yeah, there will be more, but, you know, as far as this main story goes, the main story of the entire franchise, it's over now. And while I was watching it, I completely forgot it was a movie, and because I was just sucked into the experience. I was so emotionally attached because I'm so emotionally attached to the MCU. Like, all the other movies in the MCU seem so small compared to this one. Yeah, there's a lot that happens in this movie, and I love the fact that I can't talk about it yet because the trailers were so vague. All I can say is that it surely delivers on every emotion. You'll laugh, you'll cheer, you might cry, you'll just have a good time. And of course, we have Alan Silvestri returning to do the score, and of course, it is big and epic. It's bigger and more epic than Infinity War's score. Seriously. And much to my surprise, it brought back quite a few previous themes from previous MCU movies, which I was so happy about. I'm not gonna say which ones because I don't want to spoil it, but I was really happy to hear them. I was like, thank God you haven't forgotten about these cool themes. So yeah, in conclusion, Avengers Endgame is here, it is among us, and it is everything you want it to be and more. Whether you have been there for all 11 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or you jumped in at any given point, this movie will have something for you, and you will enjoy it. It's got everything. It's got humor, it's got drama, it's got great action scenes. I just want to talk about them. My spoiler video for this movie is going to be a long one. The stories of the superheroes that you have come to know and love for the past 11 years culminate in this 3-hour end of a cinematic era. So yeah, for Avengers Endgame, I will say, go see this movie right now for the second or third time, since you've probably seen it at least once already. And yes, the rumors are true. There is no mid-credit scene, nor is there a post-credit scene in this movie, which I am totally fine with. So you are free to leave during the credits if you want to. I did not. So Avengers Endgame, it is out now. Have you seen it yet? What did you think about it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.